So my tutorial assignment, what I did was actually the summary of my readings. So it might be a bit long, but what I will read is only what I think I will include in the answer. So number 3, explain the fourfold clinging, upada. So as introduction, upada literally means, it refers to the material of field, which is the sustenance for becoming and birth. It is usually translated as clinging or attachment. Upada is not a passive liking or preference. It is an active, compulsive, and tight grasping born out of craving, tanha. It is the intensification of craving into the fixed attachment that solidifies our sense of self and bind us irrevocably to the cycle of suffering that is samsara. So in the dependent origination sequence, the link between craving and becoming is clinging. We can see that in this diagram, where tanha is desire for something, upada is the act of taking hold of it and refusing to let go. It is the point of no return where the desire translated into karmically potent action leads to renewed existence. Generally, it is classified as fourfold clinging, where we have kamu upadana, clinging to sensual pleasure, itu upadana, which is clinging to views and opinion. The third one is silapatu upada, which is the clinging to rites and rituals. And the last one will be atawadu padana, which is clinging to doctrines of self, which is referring to the personality view. So the third one, kamu upadana, clinging to sensual pleasure. This is a grasping of the pleasant feelings derived from the 5 senses, which is attractive and desirable sense objects such as sights, sound, taste, touches, fantasies. They include delight and enchantment in the mind perceiving them. Hence, one tends to regard this sensual excitement as a source of lasting happiness. It is rooted in greed. How it hinders us. As a result, one becomes preoccupied with sensual desire for external sensory stimuli. Let the grasping of the sensual pleasure arouse the diluted mind state, sustaining the 5 hindrances, distracted from long-term personal, professional, and spiritual goal. One might be inclined to perpetuate a perpetual dissatisfaction or boredom towards normal or seemingly uninteresting activities, lagging behind the mental cultivation and weakening samadhi. When the pleasure fades, one might feel frustrated, anguish, and whenever one being deprived of such pleasurable experience, emotional stability such as envy and anguish might arouse the unwholesome intention that leads to conflict or potential for causing harms to oneself and others. So as a practice, in order to reduce clinging to sensual pleasure, it is advisable to practice sense restraint and wise enjoyment without grasping. One ought to be mindful of, aware of the nature of feelings in the form of lust of passion when one associates with sensual indulgence. Then practice reflection on impermanence of pleasant feelings, the drawback of sensual desire, and the provocation of lust and calm that agitate the mind state. So it is useful to cultivate metta to counter covetousness. Anyway, the tendency to lust can only be given up when one experiences the first jhana and only be eradicated when one becomes a non-returner. Second one, clinging to views, itu upadana. It is the attachment to one's belief, political ideologies, and worldviews, especially the wrong views. For example, the view of a permanent, independent self, and it is the wrong view, such as not believing in karma and vipaka when one assumes offering and dana is useless, there's no fruit and result for good and bad deeds. Ignorance that leads one whole to the beliefs such as eternalism, that is, impermanence and eternity, or nihilism that denies rebirth. All these are rooted in wrong views. How it hindered us. Fixation on speculative or identity building views will breed conceit, dispute, and rigidity, obstructing right views flexibility. It is a major obstacle to liberation, involving rigid attachment to false belief about reality, like impermanence or self. When one's view is being challenged, it will lead to endless debate, heated up argument to protect one's own stand and validify one's own view. It shows the intolerance towards opposing school of thoughts. How do we practice to eradicate it? When one persistently reviews the Dhamma, learning the right view, which act as a rough checking it against experience and letting go of attachment to it. By regularly contemplating on dependent origination and non-self, it helps one to gain deeper understanding of the three characteristic nature, which is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Then one would tend to hold views lightly, no longer rigidly hold on to certain tradition, beliefs, and ideologies. Instead, one becomes skeptical and adopts the investigative approach before accepting any opinion or proposal. Third one, clinging to mere rites and ritual, sila batu upadana. This is the belief that mere external conformity to rules, precepts, rituals, ascetic practice can lead to liberation. Without the necessary internal purification of the mind, which refers to the mechanical, superstitious adherence to meaningless traditional practices that have thoughtlessly handed down, practices which people choose to regard as sacred and not to be challenged under any circumstances, thinking that devotional acts may clean the bad karma and end suffering. How it hinder us. This is one of the 10 factors which bind the worldling in the chain of rebirth, which is rooted in wrong view. When one mistaking external form of or rites as salvific in themselves, one is trapped in rigid tradition, practices into empty formalities, keeping precepts without wisdom, creating mental stagnation, promoting hypocrisy, and blinding one individuals to deeper truth. One neglects the role of intention and insight that leads to internal transformation and the understanding of reality. In the end, losing sight of the authentic practice, which might guide one walking the path of awakening. Practice to eradicate sila batu upadana. One integrates the Noble Eightfold Path in everyday practice by keeping precepts with wisdom and compassion and acts in accordance to right view, arouse the right intention, which are rooted in non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. Upholding the 5 precepts impeccably, reflect on their purpose as ending harm and calming the minds as the skillful means of liberation, rather than for identity or purity signaling. Fourth one, clinging to personality view, atta wadu padana. This type of clinging is the root of all other clinging. Greed arising from the idea that we are inherent, possessing an eternal soul, that we exist by ourselves as a as opposed to the Buddhist doctrine of non-self. We cling to the sense pleasure, views, and rituals because we view there is a self or ego entity that will benefit from them. It is the identification of any of the five aggregates, such as clinging to form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness, as a self or accessories of a self. This is the fundamental clinging of the idea to I, me, and mine. And it is the assumption that there is a solid, unchanging, independent self or soul within the five aggregates, which is rooted in wrong view. How it hinders us. This deluded mind state leads to clinging to roles, body image, opinions such as me and mine, that generates defensiveness, pride, shame, fear of loss, constantly viewing self around the five aggregates. It is a cognitive error by deeply held belief that leads to the development of other defilements such as craving, anger, and conceit. And it is considered a fundamental delusion and a major obstacle on the path of liberation. So it is regarded as one of the 10 factors that bind beings to the cycle of rebirth and the root cause of much mental and emotional suffering. How do we eradicate it? By investigating the Dhamma, one learns about the five aggregates as coexisting elements that are impermanent, stressful, non-self, and through meditative contemplation, one develops sati sampajanya, an intuitive awareness that allows the consciousness to be with the present moment. Then, one begins to explore personality will in terms of perception, one attached to as oneself, noticing that the I making, my making in real time and relax it. It is helpful in lessening the attachment to a fixed personality, leading to less suffering, greater balance, and increased compassion for all beings. As clinging weakens, one's establishment of virtue becomes effortless. Concentration grows steadier, and insight becomes clearer. As conclusion, these four clingings are fuels for becoming in the dependent arising chain, where craving conditions aging, clinging conditions becoming, then birth and suffering. As clinging cools, behavior grows simpler, kinder, and more balanced. As a result, metta, karuna, mudita, and ubeka can flourish. So the entire Noble Eightfold Path is designed for the abandonment of upadana, where wisdom is the primary antidote to the true nature of reality, such as impermanence, suffering, and non-self. By seeing the object of clinging is empty, unsatisfactory, and not worthy of being held onto, the mind naturally let go. Here, Atta Wadu Padana and Sila Batu Padana may be removed. Through ethical conduct, Sila, following the precepts helps to weaken Kamu Padana by curbing the pursuit of sensual gratification at the expense of others. And lastly, concentration, samadhi. A calm, concentrated mind is not swayed by the impulses of craving, and it is there less prone for clinging. So that is all I have done for question number 3. So these are the notes I refer to, including
anybody want to
Laos.
add on? If no, then we proceed to the next question.
Can I just some minor things because I think just for clarification okay, on your slide number 5 on your slide number 5, you go to slide number 5, because you say 5 senses on the 5 senses, But in your listing, you miss out the smell, but you add in the fantasies.
Oh, I see, I see. Thank you, thank you, thank
But
you.
fantasies is the mind, it's not it's the
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
I will correct that. Thank you.
okay. Then the
So
other
I
one is
left out this. Yeah.
how it hinders. I think your subsequent slide you use how it hinders. I think that is the more appropriate subtitle. How this one how it hinders. I think the grammar doesn't.
Hinders. Yeah. Hinders.
Unless
How
you
it
put it
hinders.
how it becomes a hindrance.
Okay, okay,
Oh, uh,
okay. Thank you.
okay. Then I think there's another one. Okay. The next slide. Six. Number six. Slide number six. On the practice. Okay. So you say that the Kama Chanda can only be given up, but I think that is after one experience the first jhana. I think it's suppressed, lah. It's not given up.
Okay, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Then I think that
Thank you.
let me check because I just managed to go through this morning,
Mm.
so I couldn't let feedback to you earlier.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you very much. Because
Okay,
yeah.
then your slide number 14. Slide number 14. Okay. Then you put there the Atta Vadu Padana. I think is stream entero doesn't remove this. I think it's only the Arahan, if I'm not wrong, because
I
the
see.
stream entero is also only Sakaya Ditti, I think.
Okay. Yeah,
Uh,
my mistake. Thank you.
so that's what I think I have at the moment. Okay.
Okay, thanks. I will do the correction. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, I shall proceed with the last one. Number 4. Illustrate with a diagram the death proximate thought process and explain how the new life is conditioned. So as introduction, Marana Sana Cittaviti refers to the terminal thought process or the final series of mental moments before death, a concept in the Buddhist philosophy. Any conditioned process at the end causes death consciousness to arise is called the dying process. Describe the mental processing that occurs as a person is dying, which is dominated by the object that is prominent at the moment, whether it's a memory, a visual, or a sign. So, Marana Sana Cittaviti occurs in almost all of the 31 planes of existence, except the Asanya Sattaloka. It occurs in all Putujanas and in Sotapannas, Sakatagamis, and Anagamis who are being reborn. So the dying process is twofold. The 5 sense door process and the mind door process. Dying thought process can have object through all 6 senses. Therefore, the 6 death proximate thought series can be described as the following 2 groups. The one in the sense sphere, Javana Citta, which arise in the eye door, ear door, nose door, tongue door, and body door. And the death proximate thought series that went through the mind door. So in the illustration, we can see that the thought regarding the death thought series through the 5 sense doors, through the what we call the Pancha Dwara Marasana Cittaviti. When a visible object appears to a dying person after the Bhavanga it has passed, it enters the avenue of the eye. And the Bhavanga Citta vibrates for 2 moments and then it arrested. Then the 5 door averting consciousness arises and cease averting at a time at the same visible object. Then if it is in the, for example, in the eye door, we will see that the eye consciousness arise, seeing the object, receiving the object, and then investigate and determining. Then just before the death, the heart base of the mind is weak. So there is only 5 impulses or 5 javana. So in one case, we can see that the citta, Juti citta or death consciousness arise immediately after 5 javanas. So the whole life will end, and as the new life starts, the first citta will be the Patisandhi citta, and then follow up by the other Avanga citta. So this is just a briefly a diagram portraying the death process through the 5 sense door. And if we want to go further, we can show how it occurs in 4 occasions, where the death consciousness arises after the javana or after javana and bhavanga citta, or it could be immediately after the 2 registration, or after 2 registration citta and bhavanga. Whereas for the thought process, the death thought series through the mind doors will not have 17 thought moments, because there are 2 types of mind door dying process, either for the whirling or for the sekas. The whirling and the sekas, or the arahant in the dying process. So it too can occur in 4 conditions, where the death series, death citta arise after the 5 javana citta, or the second case, after 5 javana citta and bhavanga citta, or after 2 registration consciousness, or the 4th case, after 2 registration consciousness and the bhavanga, then arise the death consciousness. So the second part of the questions, how the new life is conditioned. The javana moments are where volitional action, karma, is generated and experienced. In the final thought series, these impulses form the karmic process that condition the next existence. And the quality of this final cittaviti influences the next rebirth, as the consciousness carries the impression of the final object to the next life. As one dies, the most potent of habitual intention, supported by craving and clinging, channel the stream of consciousness to a fitting realm. So when karma nimitta or gati nimitta becomes the object of the near-death mind, can set the object of the rebirth linking consciousness, Patisandhi citta, thereby condition the realm and the quality of the next life. So, briefly, there are 4 broad conditions determine the rebirth. The first one, the few, which is the ignorance and craving. Ignorance refers to the lacking of wisdom or understanding of the 4 noble truths, not aware of the cause and nature of suffering. It becomes the fundamental underlying force that fuels our intentional activities. And this intention or volition allows for craving and aversion to arise that might lead to bodily, verbal, or mental actions, leading to the creation of wholesome and unwholesome karma. Craving and clinging provide the glue that binds consciousness to becoming. It creates a succession of karma which drive individual to repeatedly trap in the cycle of rebirth. The second condition is the karma and vipaka, which is the strong and repeatedly arisen intention that either root in unwholesome roots such as greed, hatred, delusion, and It can also be wholesome roots such as non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion that leads to volitional acts. Such deeds bring forth corresponding result, which is the vipaka. Reproductive karma can produce rebirth, whereas habitual karma can ripen at death but will generate a corresponding rebirth result, which tends to influence and potentially determine the circumstances of the future rebirth. The first chitta arise at the moment in a new life is the rebirth linking consciousness, which shares the same object as the death chitta. It is the vipaka moment shaped by the past intention. It is not a new karma making moment, but its karma rooted quality determines the realm and the birth of the next life. So there are three main categories: the ahetuka patisandhi, dewi hetuka patisandhi, and the hetuka patisandhi. Ahetuka patisandhi is the rebirth linking consciousness which is rooted in unwholesome roots and without any wholesome roots. Due to the ripening of unwholesome or mixed karma, and on top of that, there's absence of strong wholesome roots at the decisive moment, beings generally will arise in lower realms, such as common in Abhaya Bhumi, including hell, animal, ghost, and in some human lives with constrained mental potential. Here, beings are generally born with weak spiritual faculties, difficulty in attaining high jhana, nor liberating insight in that life. They are more susceptible to defilements and external conditions. In the case of Dewi Hetuka Disandi, it has two roots, Aloba and Adosa, but without Amoha. Beings arise in human and Deva realms when wholesome karma ripens, but without the strong wisdom root. They possess the good morals such as being generous and with kind temperament, but with limited innate penetrative wisdom at the outset. They possess meditative potential that is able to develop virtues and concentration well, and they are very likely to attain insight provided that they are strong and sufficient support for conditions and guidance. As for the case of the hetuka patisandhi, where all the three wholesome roots are present, they arise typically in human or higher Deva realms, never in lower realms where powerful wholesome karma imbued with wisdom it ripens. They have broad spiritual potential, release relatively is for deep meditation and insight. They may attain arahantship in the very life if other conditions are met. This patisandhi citta conditions mental and physical basis. It conditions the arising of the life continuum. It helps establish the suitable physical and sensitivity per past karma. The patisandhi sets latent tendencies and it carries forward habitual inclinations such as greed, aversion, views, shaping temperament and early proclivities and condition mental and physical basis. Hence, it is very important one keeps precepts, investigating the Dharma, and abide the Noble Eightfold Path to ensure one accumulate enough momentum to generate the good or wholesome deeds that shall set up all the necessary positive conditions for good health. The third one, appropriate external support condition. There requires the synchronization of the parental union or the mother's fertility and the presence of a Gandhabba for the conception to occur. It also requires the karmically compatible parents with shared karma or affinities draw beings into the family and provide the favorable and supportive condition to ensure the maturation of the tendency. The fourth one, supportive mental streams. which refers to the latent tendency and the habits. The latent tendency or anusaya are deep dormant disposition like lust, aversion, views, doubt, conceit, craving for becoming, ignorance that lie sleepy until conditions stir them. They bias perception and intentions across life. Whereas pains or asava are pervasive influxes that leak into the stained consciousness, such as kamasava, bhavasava, itasava, avijasava, that stain samsara. They function as roots and biases for craving and clinging that energize becoming, leading to birth per dependence. As determinants of the destination via last javana, which condition the padisandhi chitta in line with the dominant tendency that store karma. It best selective of karma to ripen. Wrong views favors unwholesome minds in action, whereas right views weakens the fool, allowing wholesome karma or insight to lead and vice versa. So as conclusion, so long as one had not attained arahantship, the latent tendencies and habits will drive one to cling to and attach to factors that bind him in the endless cycle of rebirth. By practicing the Noble Eightfold Path, one is guided by right view, cultivating samadhi, attaining insight. One will be able to see to free oneself from delusion and stop clinging, leads to continuous suffering, and stop from committing karma that set off the perpetual cycle of rebirth. So all notes related, including Brother Lau's notes. Thank you.
Okay, anybody want to comment?
I do have a little bit of inquiry.
Yes.
Sister Sumitra, can you open your slide again? At slide
Okay.
17.
Wait.
Ah,
Let me check. Slide 17.
yes. I think 17. The second slide of your presentation.
Second slide.
I follow your sequence. That means your
I have a number at the end. You look at the bottom.
1/17.
1/17.
So your one Marana Sanya Chitta Viti. Normally what we refer to is Marana Sanya Viti because Viti itself is
Okay.
process. So I'm not too sure
Okay.
whether
Okay.
because I haven't come across the additional chitta there. See?
Okay. I
Normally
will
they
delete
only,
the word
but I
chitta.
don't know you just have to figure out whether
Because
it's correct.
yeah, occasionally there are some reference with the titi. Most of them don't have. So I am not sure. So I just put it. I will delete all.
Okay, then the other one is with or without interrupting bhavangas.
Which one?
The third line, with or without, in the bracket, with or without interrupting bhavangas. I think for cognitive process, there has to be interruption.
Okay.
It cannot be without, right? If without, then
Okay.
it will continue on with bhavanga.
Okay. So I'll delete this.
So there have to be external object to interrupt it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. That's then wait. Okay, on this your slide 3, 3/17. Okay, on the graph there, at the bottom, your vibrating one. This is after the next slide lah. Then before the Javana, I thought that it should be a Mano Dwara Vajana, everything, right? This is just after the birth, the first Viti. I think that it should be traditionally there should be a Mano Dwara Vajana because it's a mind process.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
whether
I'm not sure. This is the one I get from rukamula.com.
or
So I will check with the CMA
because there
later.
is no such graph in CMA, so I thought that there should be lah. I mean, traditionally, what we know,
Okay.
you need
I
the
will check. Thank you.
ah
So
oh,
this one is actually, you can see that I write down a source lesson 7, and you
ah
can refer to the, okay, wait, here.
ah
This is
ah
this is the
reference
source.
okay
You can check because I adopt the one from here.
okay uh okay. Then your slide number, the table subsequent
Mm,
slide. That means it should be the fourth one fourth this one
Okay.
so
This
the
is number
further
2.
up further up
Number 3.
then come down, come on down this one. So in your kusala the another one come down some more, one more. How come? Wait according to your series it should be number 20. Number
20.
20. Mm.
20?
Not the page your 417, just before your 417.
Wait,
Before your 417, the table, the Jawana function. Okay, you go to number 20. Your slide. Okay, this one. You put there, you see Kusala Kriya Ahetuka. Then in
mm,
English, you put there, because Kriya is Kriya Ahetuka Kriya Chitani, but should not be Kusala or Akusala. So there's no Kusala or
okay.
Akusala. And then the English one, I think the unwholesome is also not correct because Kusala is wholesome. So
Okay,
normally,
come again. So I can do
okay,
the correction.
number
So,
okay, this one it should be Ahituka Kriya Chitani or Kriya Ahituka Chitani. I don't know. There were
mm,
Pali grammar. I don't know. Then the
mm,
functional one, there is no unwholesome. Should not be unwholesome in English. Then your functional, the spelling FUN.
mm,
Yeah, they just spelling. Uh,
thanks.
then I think there's another one or two, if I'm not wrong. Let me check okay. In your 24, okay, then because this one is Mano Dwara, right? This is thought process, right?
Yeah.
So thought process normally is one plus Bhavanga, then after it goes to Mano Dwara. There's no vibrating, no additional two.
Okay. So
As far as I
my mistake
remember,
here. Wait, let me check.
but
So
then
I have to do away with this lah.
no, you just remove the VB and V, but you want to
So
remove.
this one is not there.
As far as I know, it should not be.
Mm,
Or this one you design yourself, is it?
yeah. I will
Oh,
correct it later.
okay. Uh, then another one is okay, 26.
26,
Okay, 26 on the second paragraph. The last sentence, be a memory of a good past deed. Okay, that one could be understood. But then it can be a memory. It can be a memory. I think should it be a better word? It could be a memory because your previous sentence above is while it is the middle of it could be a memory. It can, because can is a very strong word.
Mm,
Normally, I think could would be a better of a good
thank you.
past
I'll change.
memory. Past deed, good past deed. Then you'll be clearer. Otherwise, then
Mm,
it could be a present deed or what. Oh. Uh, And then the other thing, because you are introducing the karma nimitta and gati nimitta in this particular slide, so a suggestion from me is that maybe introduce the idea that at the near-death moment, there are three signs, there is the karma nimitta, and
Mm.
gati nimitta. So that then when you follow up with this as a karma,
Mm.
then people can understand. Otherwise, I think it's quite difficult to relate,
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Uh, then it will help you on this slide as well as
Mm.
the
Mm.
following slide,
Okay, because I have skipped this.
Yeah, in the presentation, you skip lah.
Yeah, I skipped
Oh,
this. At the moment of death, there will be karma nimitta, and then there will be also gati nimitta. So this is what
oh,
I have skipped. Is
okay.
here. I
Okay,
skip
never
it.
mind. Never mind. Since you are in the on this 37, at the second line, often, second line, often. I think
Mm.
that one is not necessarily often. It may appear. I think maybe, but
Okay.
when you say often, it seems that it's very frequent. But I think it's just one of the condition. So I will tend to put it as may appear, at
Okay,
the
thanks.
moment
I
of death.
corrected.
Uh,
Yeah,
and then
thanks.
the gati nimitta is a sign of the next destination that will clear up the gati nimitta is a sign of the next destination will be clearer, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks.
uh, then let me check whether there's any other. Oh, okay, on the 31, okay, on the Ahituka Patisandhi, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line, difficulty. I think it's not difficulty because this is Ahituka, inability to attain high jhana or wisdom, It should be inability, as far as I can remember also, inability to attain. Um, um, and then the Dvihituka also line 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 very likely to attain insight. I think Dvihituka cannot attain insight. It's unlikely to attain insight because they don't have the wisdom root.
Okay,
Maybe
unlikely
Brother
to
Lau
attain
can
insight.
confirm. Brother Lau can confirm whether am I correct? Because as far as I can remember, is Dvihituka has no ability to attain even jhana also they can't attain, but they can practice so that they can prepare themselves for the next life, to have
Two roots unlikely.
unlikely, or
Okay, corrected. I will read through the slides later. I do the correction.
okay.
What else?
uh, I think that's all. Okay.
Okay,
Brother
thank you
Paul,
very
very
much.
good, you can catch so many doubts.
So I happen to be what you call more particular with all these things. As I go deeper, I realize that the importance of the right words that will carry the message. Because last time I used to be very sloppy. So I find that I make a lot of mistakes when I counter check with other sources. Then I realize, wow, what I thought was correct was actually a mistake. But that is a subtle difference between certain words. Uh, so hopefully this helped. Thank you.
So, Sister Pitland will be question number 2. Explain the 5 factors
Okay.
according to Sutanta method and Abhidhamma method. Another one is describe in detail the 4 modes of origin of
Okay,
material
two,
phenomena.
I have something for her. I can show it to you all. 2. 6 I never try.
Mm.
Okay, let me share my two to you. Okay, this is, I get a simple one. You chase after her, lah. So I give you this one as a reference. The question asks about factors according to Sutta method and Abhidhamma method. You see it, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see in the screen. Yes.
Okay, so the introduction is about factors. Factor is classification mental defilement that binds being to cycle of birth, death, and suffering. So they are called factor because they are shackle in mind to existence, preventing nibbana. So the most common list of 10 factors which are eradication map diary state of enlightenment. So the 10 factor as listed. Okay, you go and look through yourself. So the question asked in Sutta method and the Abhidhamma method. So for Sutta method, it's a pragmatic, pedagogical, and embedded in narrative context. So it's designed for teaching, memorizing, and practical application, monastic and lay followers. So these are the characteristics. Phenomenal and exponential, gradual, pedagogical, and contextual narrative, and emphasize on the object. Okay, so basically, sutta on these four things. And you further enlighten on the explanation of factors in the sutta, stream entry, and then the once returner, non-returner, and the arahant. Okay, and then this is the sutta method in a nutshell. The factors are presented as a chains that bind us. Specific realms are existent. The path is the process of cutting this chain one by one, leading to verifiable and describable freedom. The emphasis is on the result abandoning the factor and chain in the practitioner existence status. Okay, so this describes how you expounded in the sutta method. Okay, so you slowly read through. Then Abhidhamma method is more of a analytic, semantic, analogical. It's a breakdown experience on its ultimate irreducible constituents and define their characteristic function and interrelation with microscopic precision. So key characteristic is ultimate reality and taxonomic definitive causal relation and momentary analysis. So next one, you are in-depth explanation of factors of Abhidhamma. Okay, so 1, 2, classification of citas and detailed analysis of each dhamma. Okay, then analysis of Sakyaditi, identity view in Abhidhamma. And third one, the rise in cognitive process, the viti. And then association, roots, and consciousness. And fifth one, Abhidhamma, unique contribution, Abhidhamma metrics. Okay, you can read through, and then Abhidhamma methodology in a nutshell. The factors are not just chain, but specific, definable, unwholesome mental factor with distinct property, liberation achieved not just by following the narrative path, but by understanding and eradicating this specific Dhamma through profound insight into the ultimate nature. So here a chart of the comparison between Suttana and Abhidhamma method. Okay. So you can read through yourself. And then conclusion, two sides of the same coin. While the method different, they may profoundly complement each other, contrary from the orthodox Theravada perspective. The Suttana method provides a map for the travel logs. It answers the question, where am I going? That means it's something like a map. And wait, what will it be like when I get there? So inspire and guide the practitioner on the journey. Then the Abhidhamma method provides the engineering. It's more of the technical one. It answers the question, what precisely are the chains made of and what is the exact process of breaking them into atomic level. So it provides an ultimate technical understanding. So this one you can read through. So Sister Sumeta, you chase after Sister Peleng to hand in her assignment next session when we meet again.
Okay.